5 million in SBA loans for small businesses, 10 billion in grants, more coming from certain states. I'm going to be releasing that here in just a second. The process, how to get your hands on them, these organizations within the Treasury Department. I'll show you what program this exactly is. The PPP loan forgiveness, SBA EIDL loan and EIDL loan increases of all sorts, the employee retention tax credit, other grant programs, startup funding, non-startup funding, and so much I'm going to be releasing in this video. But before I get started, my name is Michael with Viral Funding Solutions. I am a business loan broker expert who's been able to fortunately and gratefully help out a lot of businesses during this time, before COVID, after, get the business funding that they need to continue to move their business forward, building it, growing it, expanding it, and even getting it out of the tight pinch. And we're speaking about all backgrounds and industries. And I've seen everything. I know the human behavior. I know the psychology of this step from the beginning until the end, when the underwriting finally gives you the offer, why you hesitated, why you jumped on it, why it made more sense to you than opposed to someone else, as well as so much more. So I'm going to be going into a little bit of that towards the end of this video, but I want to get into the juicy details, some of the updates. But let me see who's watching right now in the live. Please give me a hashtag live. You can even give me a wave. Let me know where you are tuning in from. I know I get a variety of people from different states: Florida, Washington, D.C., California, Texas, everywhere. Alabama, I have quite a few clients from there. Utah. I can go on and on, but I've seen just all sorts of businesses, and I know how to help them get funding. But the ultimate question that you have to be asking yourself is, does this make sense to me? So what I want to jump into is the 5 million for small businesses in the SBA loan. And some of you may be thinking this is an EIDL loan. Not exactly. So if you haven't been watching any of my last content or anybody else's, or perhaps you've been living underneath a rock in Bikini Bottom for the past 3, 4, 5 years, there is no more EIDL funds at this moment. They are completely exhausted, or there is some reserve funding, and there's been pleas, and there's been a lot of pushing towards the Secretary of State and Congress to be able to move this program forward once again. With so many people still being processed in the queue, so many people are waiting, and I'm getting a lot of news from my loan officers with a lot of individuals as ourselves in the public eye who can continue to push that and make it work. Hi, Sobeda. Hopefully I said your name right. West Palm Beach, nice. That'd be somewhere cool to go and visit for sure. Orlando, I've been there. It's the only place. Miami's on the bucket list. But just have to understand that I released a video earlier today. And if you did not watch that, if you had a broadcasted email sent out to you, you just ignored it, you thought this wouldn't apply to me, so I didn't click it, or I clicked it, just read the email and quickly responded back, but you didn't even take the time to watch the video, please do yourself a huge service of going into that and watching it. Click the link that I provided for you if you received it in an email. If not, no worries. I'll link it to you down below. It should already be there in the description. I spoke about the SBA EIDL loan increases and then versus this SBA 7A loan product. And more specifically, I want to jump into that in a second on a 90% approval with one of the fastest, simplest, honestly it is, out of all the SBAs, and easiest SBA processes out on the market today, not 3 years ago. And this will be something that continues to occur over the time and into the future. So it's very important for you to watch that video for all of the specific information, but I'm going to be giving it just a little bit, and I have it on a share screen that I'll be jumping into, as well as the 6-step pre-qualification checklist that many of you already have, and I will be going over what questions you should be asking yourself. I have a lot of business owners right now who have offers on the table, and they're being very hesitant. There are people who are just jumping on top of it like, that's a no-brainer. If I'm paying this amount back, so what? My business is going to double and triple and quadruple. I can handle the cash flow on that. That's fine, but I need the funding. I couldn't qualify for a line of credit, but I qualified for a lump sum. Or there are people who are still on the fence, and we're towards the end of the month. You have up until tomorrow. I think we hit Let me look at my calendar. The 31st is on Sunday, and then we start the 1st on Monday. So what that means is if you're still in the queue, if you're an individual who's come through me and anywhere else, and you submitted an application, but you didn't provide all or just a few of your bank statements that were needed, and usually it's just bank statements at this point, I'm not talking about tax returns and so forth, then we're going to need the month-to-date bank transaction report, month-to-date transaction report, or your latest bank statement. So since we're in July, rolling over into August on the 1st, if you did not submit and if you did not get an offer by this month, we will now need your July bank statements. So a lot of you are making these mistakes. I spoke to people yesterday. I had various people saying, hey, can I just have you logging into my account just to look at the bank statements? We cannot do that for the most part. There may have been something like that in the past, and there may be a little bit of that, but it isn't something that happens. We expect you to send us your PDF documentation. And if you're an individual who starts the process, submits an application without submitting the documentation, we can't evaluate you. We can't look at those bank statements. We can't even look at them fully. Sometimes all we need is 3 months. Sometimes it's 3 to 6 months. The more months, the better, because then we can project where you've been and where you're trying to go to. But with just 3 months with some specific companies, that's all we ask for. And today I sent out multiple text messages to people, sent out multiple messengers, multiple emails. Even I tried to get on calls with people who were delaying this for 3 to 5 days. I don't need to call you necessarily. You don't want that phone call from me. It's not a bad one. It's just, hey, I'm not sure if you've seen my text or my emails, but we just needed your June bank statements. Will you be sending those in, or all 3? Oh, yeah, I just didn't get the text, or I just haven't had time to do it. And I get it. We get busy as business owners. However, it's not an excuse. You can ask anybody around who runs a multi-million-dollar business. Ask them if they make excuses in their business. Maybe they do. Maybe we get comfortable. But at the end of the day, if this is important to you, then you would take care of it. Like I've texted a lot of people today. You may be in here watching right now. How are you watching this and not sending me your bank statements? Or at least uploading them however we are asking for you to upload them so we can see it in our system. And it's not for me being negative or aggressive. My tonality is coming up because I want to make sure that I'm taking care of you guys and helping your business grow, not just looking at it and saying, well, I'm just going to go take in another application and then I'm going to just see what happens. Or you have that fear that you've been declined time and time again. So you don't commit 100%. You think, this is just not going to work, so I'm just going to let it go. But why'd you start the process to begin with if we can't look at your bank statements? So what makes most sense to you? That's right. Make sure you submit the right documentation. And at the end of this video, I'm going to be getting into some Q&As. People have problems and questions. I haven't put them all together, and I'll try to be sending you guys a Q&A here soon, hopefully to see what kind of more questions you have. But I've just pulled out a few from multiple people, and I'm going to talk about them towards the end of this video. So in pertaining to the SBA EIDL, there, again, isn't nothing really going on right there moving. There's been a lot of talks. That's all it's going out to be. Be careful of all the content you watch on YouTube. Some other individuals will just put it in the script in their title, but don't really go into it. It's just about a different matter. And I do a little bit of that. I won't say I'm not guilty of it, but I give you guys an update on what's happening if there's anything with the SBA. And then I'll transition to another topic that's very, very specific, and it's very, very helpful. And it goes into it so in depth, you'd be very thankful to watch that. And it's really cool stuff, guys. So I see a few people commenting. Yes, Miami would be a cool place to go to. I bet West Palm Beach would be another one. That's really amazing, and I've heard a lot of great things. Correct on the EIDL, the max. You still don't know why you were denied for the increase. I released a video on that. I won't get into that right now, but I'll try to link it to you. Maybe you can send me an email, and I'll send you that content. Unless you didn't see it, I'll send it out. But there are about 5 to 10 reasons why, and I won't speak about that at this moment. I don't want to make it about that. So what is this other product in the SBA loan for small businesses or businesses of all sorts? We know that it's government funding. We know that you can get interest rates between 5 to 9%, or we call them prime rates in today's market at about 4.75%. And our projections, that could go up about another percent. So you may be looking at a 5.7 to 6% interest over the next 3 to 12 months or so. I can say more 6 months. And if that happens, it happens. So then you're maybe looking at prime rates at 5.75% to about just underneath 11% perhaps with these SBA loans. However, you shouldn't just be looking at it from an interest point of view. What you should be thinking about is, does the benefit of taking this exceed my repayment? Whether you're getting a lump sum or you're getting a line of credit, etc., especially when you're looking at credit cards, does the benefit of me taking the $200,000 going to exceed the repayment on that if I'm paying back $270,000 over a year? Well, how much is my payment per day? Maybe I'm looking at about 1,300, just above 1,000, and then I'm paying back 4,000 to 5,000 or plus more a month. So think about those things. And it's not necessarily about the interest, but it's more about the repayments. Can you allow yourself to repay that back over the time we give you? And I'm going to be getting into some qualifications here soon, but the SBA 7A loan is the one specifically I'm going to focus on right now. So again, I released that video earlier today, link in the description. But I spoke about how 5% to 9% in interests at this moment, prime rates plus 1 to about 5%. But that number could be going up. And you can get up to $5 million with this product. There's one specifically called the hybrid SBA loan, and that's what you're going to hear about in that video. So you guys watch that. It's going to blow your mind. And this is where you can get a 90% approval, because what we look at are two different forms of products. The first one, it is towards an unsecured financing service, which can be a combination of multiple of these or just one of them. But it is like an unsecured term loan, a cash advance, and or a line of credit. And in the meantime, while we are evaluating you for the SBA 7A loan, you can get those. So we can get you an unsecured term loan, and then we can get you a cash advance, or we can get you a line of credit, and then you can use the SBA loan to realistically pay that off. So if you're paying your payments on time and you were approved for the SBA, you can use what you received here and realistically, hey, I can pay it off earlier, good. Or we can add that on top of what we had over here with the SBA. Sure, but that's the product that I want to speak about for SBA 7A, for small businesses, is this product you can get in with. Realistically, we can get you in with this hybrid SBA loan, and I don't want everybody to start going crazy and thinking that they can get it, so please pay close attention. With $120,000 in annual gross revenue, okay, a 660 and above FICO, and 2+ years in business. And I know that's the minimum. And the 120 is coming from the combination of the unsecured term loan, the cash advance, and or the line of credit. So that's where you can get in with a minimum of about $10,000 per month. But realistically, when we're looking at an SBA loan, you want to be doing more than $120,000 per year. You want to be doing like 200 to 300, 300,000 and above per year, 500,000. And you have to be projecting going up. Your revenue can change in certain formats, but what we want to look at is your profitability of your business. Are you profiting at least 10% year over year? In 1 year, it's fine. But if you're doing 10%, then one other year, you're like 5%, it's a lot harder to say, hey, what we can give you this, but this is what's going to happen. Or we can't give it to you at all. You showed significant growth from 5% to 10%, and now you're stable at 10%, 15%. Now you're growing even higher. So 10% minimum, 10 to 15, some have 15% minimums, depends on the lender you go to. And the risk, especially the industry and the amount of funds you're looking for, as well as the type of funds. So think about those things. And then credit is a huge factor with SBA loans, specifically the SBA 7A, the 504. You have to be very careful. When they say 660 or 680 and above, be realistic. If you meet the minimum, you want to have higher revenue. Better time in business, because 2 years at the minimum may get you in the door for a little bit of like the 20 to 350,000 range, may be able to. But if it's in an industry where it's very high risk, like trucking, even restaurants, insurance, and quite a few other ones, then it's much more harder to get you that, especially in today's market. A lot of the lenders don't have the sufficient funds that they can receive from the banks like they would, or they get it from another source to be able to allocate it to these different industries. So like recently, right now, I have a couple of business owners going through the SBA 7A who are going to be getting about $2 million, and even more than that. One of them wants $1 million, doing about $4 to $5 million a month. 3 to 4 million, a couple of other ones, and then 1 million to 2 million, and then so forth, and then a little bit underneath that. But the trend above all of these is that they have a goal in mind, that they're looking for funding that's going to help them not only produce something in the short term with their return on their investment, but also a long-term ROI. And that's how these SBA 7A loans work. They're not COVID relief, primary funding, and then secondary being for growth and expansion. You're using this primarily for growth and expansion. And if you don't meet some of those qualifications, like credit has to be clean. I had people the other day sending me comments on YouTube, emailing me, quite a few. Well, this is a joke. They didn't qualify me. And then I told them the reality, and they go, yes, I didn't have this profitability or I didn't have this credit. Yeah, so what? This is, and then I had to go in even more detail to explain how this works. And then they finally got an idea of going, oh, okay, I get it. So what you see at the surface level is not what you get. So it's very important you guys do not just go start an application anywhere and everywhere. Don't start doing the shotgun approach. I speak to people every day. I was applying here. Stop. Don't do that. The lenders can see you. The lenders see you in their systems. They communicate with one another. I kid you not. I've seen all this. They're going, hey, Jerry over here, hey, Sally over here has applied 10, 12 times, only has received about 2 offers from this company, was complaining about this and not like that offer. She got the best one from this lender, from this lender. What was the situation? What was the feedback? Well, we didn't receive any. She went cold, so we're not going to help her. We're not going to give her the best lenders. We're not going to give her even the B2C lenders who don't even go after the highest. They're going to pull away from you because you're just dabbling. You're not giving anybody feedback. When I speak to business owners every single day, especially with the SBA loans, do you have the time to process and to give me that information whenever you need to? That's on your terms. How soon do you need the funding? Do you need it as soon as today? Do you need it as soon as in the next month? Is it in the next 3 to 6 months? Because the SBA loans don't get you funding until up about 1 to 3+ months, not even in the 1 month range in a lot of cases. So if you cannot wait that long to receive your funding and don't even qualify, there are other options. Don't worry. This is why I created segments on the SBA EIDL loan versus the merchant cash advances versus the unsecured term loans of the world. And I'll be coming out with more in the future, hopefully here. A lot of people have been getting a lot of help from it. So I thought I'd come out with more content on it. And again, at any point, if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, please feel free to voice them. Again, we're going to go towards the end of this. I'm going to try to get out of here in the next 15 or so minutes. I know I say that, and then it ends up going a little bit further if you've seen me from time to time. But it's a lot of value. And if you feel you are getting that value and you think somebody else could benefit from it, it can be a complete stranger, a friend, or a family member, but you know you were able to help them out. Somebody who was lost. I have a Q&A right here, and I see the problems and questions. Like, one of the biggest problems I have is, where do I start? It seems really complex to find this information, and it is. Where was I some time ago looking for this, and people were BSing me, giving me that BS. I saw right through them. They were just creating a video, but they didn't, when I went into and giving them the hard questions, they couldn't answer them. Hey, let me go find that answer for you. And that's fine sometimes. But you're an expert and you don't know these answers? Who are you fooling? You're over-promising to me and under-delivering. Get away. And so I don't waste my energy or my time on people, as many of you already know. So if I'm asking about something, I'm not pressuring. What I'm asking is your undivided attention. Give me a little bit of feedback. Today I messaged quite a bit of people. It's been over 4 hours. You're maybe busy. I get that. But if it were important to you, if you had a little bit of a break, you could send me a quick text. You could send me a quick messenger. Hi, Michael. Yes, I would consider this because of this. Boom, done. Good. Next step. Boom. Yeah, hi, Michael. Yes, this is taken care of. I'll be sending this over to you in about 2 weeks. Okay, that's fine with me. But when somebody goes completely AWOL cold, I don't even know. You may be looking for other offers because this offer doesn't look good to you, but you don't understand why you received that offer. You just want to hear what you want to hear. I deal with this every single day, and I wish it were much easier, and it is. It's just we make life harder on ourselves. So for our own parties, let's try to make it as smooth, simple. I won't say easy, but smooth and simple. And then be very punctual about things. I have people who don't even want to upload their bank statements. Maybe they're feeling lazy. Maybe they're like, they can't log into my account. And so I have to go and now download. So you make it even a bigger problem. And you try to go somewhere else thinking they're going to accept it any different. Now you're over there, and then you're like, I'm already here. Why should I go over there? Only to find out you just got a bigger term, or you just got a lot lesser of a term, maybe a bigger term. Like I had an individual just the other day, but you got such a high rate. Over here, we would have cut that point from like what you had to about 5 or so points. That makes a big difference. But because you chose to do it your own way, dealing with faulty lenders in a lot of cases, I deal with the best lenders and the best underwriters by far. And I see this every day. I see people who just ignore, people who process something, but they never give me feedback. And so I'm just asking for that respect from you guys. Is if I were in your position, now that I know what it's like to receive funding, even if I wasn't considering somebody's offer, what will I do? Yeah, as a courtesy, I'm going to give them some feedback if it really matters that much. But if you don't care about somebody, if you just look at me as a number, that's maybe what you're looking at it as, then you might just disappear. And that's not what I do. And you can be a testament to a lot of people that I speak to, those of you who are in here and those of you who are not watching right now. I take the time to care about who you are as a human. I really do. I take the time to ask you those questions, see how you're doing. I check in. How's your weekend going? Oh, you're taking a vacation. Oh, I was just in Lake Tahoe last week. I think you're going to enjoy this and this. So I take my time and I really go out of my way, especially in the community here. And it has really nothing to do with business in a lot of times. So you can just lean on my shoulder if you needed to. I'm going to be here taking care of you. But a lot of people, they disappear. A lot of people don't even reach back. A lot of people think they're better. A lot of people think because they've been abused by people just telling them that they're a number, they're not going anywhere. That's not the case here. Unless you don't want to deal with somebody who's very professional, let's not waste our energy and time. And you can go to somebody else who will, for sure, I know this, will waste a lot of your time. And a lot of the people that do end up helping you, I'm the one who's probably trained them. And so I know how this works very well, and I've been in your position. So SBA loans for small businesses, I spoke about, and I have my checklist here just to make sure I don't miss anything. The SBA hybrid, I just spoke about it briefly, and I want you guys to really watch that video that I've linked to down below. It should be one of the very first or 2 to 3 top links where it goes SBA EIDL versus the hybrid. Watch that video. And then there are my other SBA EIDL versus unsecured term loan, merchant cash advance versus private lenders, SBA EIDL loan versus private lenders. That'll give you open your eyes completely. Low to high documentation, and then I'm going to jump into the grant programs and which ones are available. So I do appreciate you guys for sticking with me. This isn't scripted. This is just notes I'm going off of just to see what touch points at this moment. But I do appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in. Those of you who come back, not because you know you can receive funding, but because you know that you're going to get a lot of value out of these videos. Go watch other people's content. God, I watch a lot of them, and they're just full of, they go one place and then it's just like, okay, man, you're just saying words just to say them. Man, you're just, no. So I watch very carefully on, and a lot of it is good, and some of it is just, it's just, I don't know. Sometimes I have to take a second look at those. But we're looking at low to high documentation. So I have various people right now who are getting the SBA 7A loan. Like they've been approved. They're getting the funding. I have people who are getting 3 million, 4 million, like I'm saying, 2 million, 1 million, 350,000, 500,000, a million, 500 to a million. That's where I'm getting a lot right now, 500 to a million. And I have those just above the 1 million. I have quite a few actually. And then some of them are still getting processed. But the same thing goes with them that'll apply to you. I need documentation. So before I go into the share screen and show you what that exactly is, 2021 bank statements, usually I'm going to need all 12 months because we want to see projections. And sometimes we don't ask for that. I'm going to need your 2021 personal and business tax returns, 2022, and so forth. I'm going to need to get some more documentation, business debt schedule, APAR report, year-to-date financials, profit and loss, balance sheets. Some of this you may not have. You may not have an APAR report. Maybe it is a business debt schedule, but even at that, you should have it, right? At least nothing that shows for it. Like you don't have any debt. And there's some people who do not have it, so it's fine. But get that together, put that documentation. Sometimes you'll send it to me. A lot of people, they send it to me in disbursements. It's okay. Send it to me in disbursements, and I organize all this in my Google folders. So when I have it all together, when I have your application, then I can go and submit it to our lender. I can go submit it to our underwriter, the right preferred partner, and then we'll follow up with you in the process. But if you're that individual who, hey, I've told you this is what I need from you, and you're coming back to me like a week later, hey, I don't This isn't going to, like, we spoke about it. If this didn't work for you, I gave you another option, but you decided in about a week from now to say that didn't work. So that could all be avoided. And as a business owner, answer me this in the comments. As a business owner, do you want more problems created for you, or do you want solutions? As an entrepreneur, as a business owner, I mentioned it too myself, I want solutions. I want to solve big problems. Every single day, it's what I do. But I want solutions. I don't want to create more problems. I don't want to have somebody create more problems on top of problems because something was already explained. So when something's already explained to a specific point, but people keep coming back and asking the same question, that's just an occurring problem that shouldn't exist. So I am an entrepreneur. I'm a business owner who runs multiple businesses. And so I cater to those as well. And this is my primary focus, helping you guys get the business funding you guys need. I know this world inside out. I keep up to date with everything. So come back with solutions, right? Am I coming to you with problems? Come to me with solutions. Hi, Jeremy. Oh, great. Appreciate you. Thank you. But when a lot of the times it's the same occurring people coming back with more of the same, like it's been answered. But if it hasn't been answered, there's a reason why you keep bringing it up. And it makes sense. And I'm also at times busy. But if I haven't said this yet, if you're new to the channel, down below in the description is a free questionnaire you can submit to get your best funding option and options, very personalized and customized to you, broken down from an introduction to the qualifications, how it works, to the numbers if necessary, comparing different programs, and then giving you bonus tips, bonus material, a lot of stuff, and then a conclusion on what you should do. And if you haven't seen that yet, there are some of you guys who have already submitted it, and I will get to it. I haven't been able to do it today. And it looks like tomorrow and Saturday will be my catch-up days where I'll be doing quite a bit. So I still have yet to respond to some of you guys. So please be patient with me. Excuse me, it's milk. And so I'll get back to you guys in time. So low to high documentation, usually SBA loans, like I just mentioned there, higher documentation. Lower documentation, you're looking at more of unsecured financing. So these merchant cash advances, in some cases, you can get them with just 3 to 6 months, or 3 months, 3 to 4 months, 4 to 6 months. You have a voided check and copy of your driver's license. A lot of this can be uploaded online digitally, and or we have a PDF. A lot of the times it is digitally. So when you're going through an application, if you haven't done so yet, you'll get to a point where we're asking you to upload your documentation. You should have it, save it already into your folder. This is something that I would do as a business owner. Have at least 3 to 6 months of bank statements already downloaded, in the most recent ones. Put them into your folder somewhere. You can access them very quickly and then upload them however we're being asking you of uploading them. But because you get to that point, if you can just save it and complete it later, that's fine. Otherwise, you have to start over and come back to it. If you don't have all documentation, take the time. Upload them in time. I have some people who are still trying to get through, who are trying to manipulate bank statements thinking that we won't catch them. Please don't waste our energy and time, especially the lenders and underwriters who come back to me and go, Michael, this guy's, don't submit them if you're going to waste our energy and time. And it's the truth. And they don't say anything more. Like, I'm telling you exactly what I am hearing. I'm telling you what I've been through, what I've learned from, and exactly what I'm telling you from my own words, not from theirs. So just be professional about this. Treat this like you're getting a 30-year home mortgage, which you're not. In a lot of cases, you want that, but it's 30-year terms, unless you're looking at real estate. But the terms, we spoke about the terms on the interest for the SBA loans, and the terms can vary on all sorts of products. Don't just think it is going to be 5 to 25-year terms. On some, like the cash advances, you're seeing more about 3 to 12 months, and then a 12 to 24 month. That can be in the more unsecured term loan, 12 to 24 month, 1 to 2 years. And what you're looking at with unsecured financing options, especially the unsecured term loan of about 12 to 24 months, is 1 to 3% interest. So what that means is, let's say you got 12%, you have 12 month of a term, and then you were assessed to have a 2% in risk because of your average daily bank balances. Your bank statements didn't look clean enough. Your revenue you were depositing is just you were fluctuating. You just didn't deposit as much one month as you did another one. You only kept 500 in the account. That, up to a lot of us, looks negative. And you were able to only keep the minimum of 1,000 or so, and you're depositing 50,000. What happened? So you may get 2 to 3%. You may have qualified for 1 to 2 years, but 12% by 2, that's 24. 12 by 3, 36%. So the thing is not to look at the interest exactly, but look at what you can manage day to day in operations with cash flow. Some people will be able to get a monthly term and it makes more sense than a weekly or a daily. Others would prefer to have a weekly or daily because I prefer to have multiple payments in a day, per week, 1 to 4 times per month, as opposed to having one huge lump sum that you have to pay off at the end of the month because for cash flow reasons. And you have to be more precise and calculated as opposed to you understanding your business more effectively and saying, hey, if I'm getting withdrawn $230 a day and it's fixed, it's not variable because we assessed it to be, then you know it's being taken out and you're doing 100,000 or 200,000 a month or even less than that, and you're complaining that you're getting 200 taken out, you don't want to get 1,200 or so per week because that's more than a car payment per month. You're looking at it all wrong. This is a business. This is not a car. This is not a home mortgage. This is not insurance. You're using this funding usually for growth and expansion, whether it's short-term or long-term. Well, I got 8 months. You only needed 8 months. You only needed 6 months. We gave you 8 months for the funding you need. There's no there's early payment discounts, no prepayment penalty on this. But you don't understand your finances. That's the problem. You don't understand your bookkeeping. And I get it. We're business owners. We usually work in the business operations day to day, and we work in the sales and marketing when we have to. That's the honest truth. But until you understand these things, you go to your accountant, you go to the person who handles your bookkeeping, then you'll fully get it. But until then, you'll continue to say, oh man, somebody was giving me $2,000 a week repayment for 10 months and blah, 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 blah. Well, let's see. Let's pick up your revenue. Let's pick up your time in business. Something has to give. The lenders are taking 100% of the risk. You're not offering up collateral to get something between 15 and less percent in interest. You're looking at 19 to 70% plus in interest. That's the bottom line. A lot of people don't come to that reality because you have to be strategic about how you use your funds. So one person who has a restaurant, let's make an example here and we'll get into the grant section. One person here who runs a restaurant, opens up a patio setting. You guys probably have heard me say this before. Opens up a patio set, has 4 extra tables that can fit about 30 extra people. Now they get about an extra 50 to 60 people sitting out there per day. Now you break that down into the type of meals they're purchasing, the service, the tips, how much of the plate that they ate. See, you guys are not usually calculating these things. You guys are just going off of what you're making revenue. You can't, you cannot measure that completely. How do you measure that? You have to find other ways. And so this person who brought in an extra 50 people per day, my God, they were already doing 30,000. And let's say they were doing 30,000 and they had to pay back. They got about a $35,000 business loan or an advance, and they're paying back about 45,000 on that. Now that 30,000 then just turned into 60,000, like that, in a month. No, it happened in 2 months. Oh, it's still happening 3 months, 4 months. Now I'm doing 80,000 a month. 80,000. You paid back 45,000. Who would not want that? And you only had it for how long? 8 months. That's all you needed. No more ongoing debt. Oh, but we want cushion. I want 2 years. Like, look at the EIDL loans. I can use the fund. That's not how they work. That's why you got to watch that video down below. Don't ignore it. You ignore it, you'll continue to fight this battle. I'll explain it to you even if you don't watch it. But until you see the content for yourself, you'll understand it. So a lot of people have this misconception of it. And it's not tiring for me because I'm already like immune to it. I see it every day. People go ghost. They ask me about something. Then they come back to me. I've been really busy and Yes, you've been busy. I get that. But in my mind, if this were important to you, you would take care of it. Simple as that. If it were important to me, oh, Jeremy sent me a message? Okay. Hi, Jeremy. I'm not ready right now, but I will take another look at it and get back to you. And I'm going to hold myself to it. I'm not going to say, I'm going to get back to you, and you disappeared. How can you be trusted? You're trying to trust me. I'm trying to trust you. Right? When you're dealing with myself, I'm not another reception person. I'm not another person just giving you information or working for a Fortune 500. It's me independently. I'm the expert at what I do. So if you get my time, it's because you've earned it as well. If you go through other places and other sources, they may be able to help you, but to what degree? That's the question you have to ask yourself. And I always ran into those problems, and I hated it, and I hated it. And I wouldn't have taken those offers if I had known any better, and nobody else was out there to help me. And even when somebody was, they were just trying to help me so they can make money off of me. That's not what I look at this as. I really care about helping businesses and stimulating the economy. There's much more than money to this. And then being able to donate, that's an amazing thing. So going into the grants, I want to get into this. Let's see. I'll probably come back to that document, but it's in the video, and then I'll go into the 6 questions. Let me open up my share screen. Actually, I'll do it like this, and then I'll get into the share screen. So briefly, what is the SSBCI program? And I've been speaking about this for the last month or so. This is a program that is called the State's Small Business Credit Initiative. And this is where a lot of organizations brought on about from the Treasury Department are able to go out there and say, hey, we're going to give you some grants. We're going to give you business loans. We're going to give you equity and so forth. There's a little bit more now that's being added. But I spoke about how to research and how to find them. And you can do a quick search on Google with SSBCI and then next to it, your state, SSBCI Washington, SSBCI California, or State Small Business Credit Initiative Florida, for example, which isn't going to be really there at the moment. So these states have been opened, and I spoke about a little bit of them the other day. You have Arizona, Hawaii, Indiana, Maine, Kansas, Maryland, Michigan, New Hampshire, Pennsylvania, South Dakota, Vermont, West Virginia, Connecticut. I don't think I said Indiana. Yeah, Indiana is another one as well. So those are the states right now that are open to those grants, business loans, and equity. And that's what I would go and do a quick search on. However, whether you do it or not, if you've been following me for some time, I've been saying how hard it is to get a grant. They're not as easy maybe as it used to be, especially with our economy right now. They're asking more questions of you. And what those questions are, I can ask you, I can help you with understanding like how to put a document together. But a lot of people just go directly to those, and it's harder nowadays to get them. But because a lot of people are releasing it, it looks otherwise. So just think about that. I would still go in there and look at them. I also have a grant opportunities document for this year, and then ongoing, they will continue to be updated down below in the description. So check out the grant opportunities for this year of 2022 that we're in, and then we'll continue to grow thereafter. So let me go over some. I put some few documents together that are available. There are quite a few right now, but one of the most recent one is the up to $25K for Black-owned restaurants and food businesses, whether you're newly established, a non-startup, or a complete startup. Those are available to you. There will be some details I'll try to link you to down below within that grant opportunities document. And there are quite a few of them. Hello Skip is another great one. That one comes and it goes. Hello Alice. There's a Verizon one that's kind of ongoing, and it comes and it goes. There's so many. I have so many on my mind, but I'm going to leave it at that. Now, let me go into the 6th step. 1 second. So what you're looking at on the screen is the 6-step pre-qualification checklist that if you're a subscriber, you will get, and you perhaps have already gone through it, maybe just glanced at it. But when you get a second, please take the time to read this. It is very well worth your time. And this I could be charging for, but I'm going to give it to you for free. And that's what you get, especially when you submit that questionnaire form. Down below, you'll also get this on top of it. So it's a 6-question checklist your business and everyone else must be asking before applying for an alternative small business loan, and even when you're applying for traditional financing. So question 1, should you apply for a small business loan? That should be at the top of your mind. I'm saying, should you apply? I'm not saying, should you get one? Should you apply? See, there are different steps to this because people go, I should get a business loan, but should I apply for one is another question. And without knowing what you're going through in the application, that's where it catches a lot of people. And it's a lot of energy and time wasted. Like people right now, just oblivious of the fact that I've even texted them. And then they come back in a week. Oh, well, you never texted me. I never know. Yes, I did. You just didn't look at it, period. And I won't say that. It's just honest. Be honest. Stop beating around the bush. You don't really necessarily are interested in all this. Good. That should have been helpful from the very beginning. That's what I should have been known. Instead of going into a file that I would have been spending time on somebody who really did need it. But because I spent 5 to 10 minutes, 10 minutes of that putting my energy into the underwriting process, if we're in the middle or that I could have been putting into somebody else who was more serious. So question 1, while a small business loan is a great way to reduce the pressure on cash flows, you could have variable alternatives for relieving cash flow like selling debt owned to your business and negotiating contracts to allow for longer payment terms, like debt consolidation, a little bit of that. Also, make sure you have considered an alternative source of finances, including friends and family, as well as other alternative sources when you're trying to get an SBA loan. That's what they want to see as well. If you've exhausted all traditional funding ways, then alternative lending is a great choice. Once you've determined you need to apply for a small business loan, working capital, then you must at the very least know the different types of interest rates for each service so you're not blindsided and you have your standards set straight, as well as what are the repayments? Does the benefit exceed that? Question 2, is a small business loan good for your business? I know this sounds very generic. To some of you guys are like, wow, this is so boring. Yeah, but then you go and apply for a business loan and you go, oh man, I should have been listening. Yeah, that's the truth. Nobody wants to hear that, but you're hearing it from me. I'm giving you a little bit of tough love. It's time you guys wake up. I wish somebody was telling me this. I wish I was you guys having somebody telling them this is how it is. Not necessarily if you don't like it, you should go. I'm not that person who but if you don't like it, you have to reassess your positioning. And so a lot of people don't take the time to that. When they apply for funding, it's when they're in the reason a lot of people apply for funding, and they shouldn't be doing that right now. You should be preparing for this impending recession. They apply when they're like losing in their business. Like they're suffering in their business. Oh man, I need to go and apply. Oh man, I just lost 30,000 in revenue, but I need 80,000. Yeah, but you just lost 30,000. How are we going to give you what you need? We could have given it to you if you were going up, but you have to start somewhere. We have to start off with at least 15,000. Okay, I'll take 15,000, pay off 22,000 of that in 6 months or so, however months we give you. Okay, now can I get 25,000? Okay, yeah, we can raise up, we can lower your interest or your terms, and then we can increase the terms, the rates, increase the terms. But until you have that, you're going to continue to, I'm going to be honest, you get a lot of people continue to be a TCH about this. And then there are others who are just very easy and very simple, like, hi, Michael, I get it. Keep it short. Okay. Made my life easier. And it makes it better in some cases because you have the understanding of it now. It's not like you have to say much. Yes, Michael, I will accept. Because you get it. Or yes, Michael, I understand how this works. And I don't mind if you're specific. That's not what I'm saying. It's just we have to get plugged into this content. And if we're not plugging in, it's backfiring, and they're going to continue to spiral. So question number 3, can you qualify for a business grant? I wanted to put this one in there because a lot of people will ask themselves that question, and you can see here all the grant opportunities and what you would need to get started with them. Question 4, what types of small business loans are there? And that goes to the question of what the services are and what you can afford and so forth. Question 5, when should you apply for a small business loan? This is the most important one, I believe, out of all of them. Because a lot of people come to me and they apply and I don't even know if they're serious. Stop applying just to see if you can get an offer. Apply when you don't necessarily need the funding the most, or you're in a tight crunch, I should say. Get it when you've assessed your projections, where you'll be in a month, in a 2-month, 3-month time frame, in the short term, as also in a long term from now. A lot of people come to me and go, a lot of these lenders want to give me a short-term interest rate loan, long or short-term, higher, medium interest rate loan, but you don't understand how you're using your funds. Stop complaining and assess how you need to use your funds. When I ask individuals, what will be the return on your investment in the next 1 to 5 months? Well, I don't know. No, wrong answer. Just say there won't be one. This is just to keep my business operations running. I'm going to be opening up a new building, giving it a little bit of maintenance, but it won't bring me much of a profit or bring me much revenue. All right, that's more honest than saying, I don't know, it's not going to work that way. Yes, this will produce to me an ROI in 3 months. I'm going to be doubling and tripling. And then in about 6 months from then, once all this is running and it's smooth, then I'll be tripling and quadrupling my profits indefinitely, be going at it stably. And then in about a year and a half, I may come back and get more funds because I'm going to have this project that's a little bit larger, where I'm going to need about 9 months at least. Boom. And that's triple effect. And it goes over and over and over. But a lot of individuals just don't seem to grasp that because they don't exactly know what strategy they're using for their funds. And that's the problem. So there are more things in that. I'm going to go over this. Question 6, should you work with a small business loan broker? 100%. I'm not going to read all that, but it's very specific. Yes, no question about it. Don't just jump to a company and go and call them without speaking to a broker. Broker usually knows more. It's my job to understand what the lenders are looking for, what the underwriting process is like to a T. Not a lot of individuals know. They don't get plugged in to know that. They don't ask the questions they need to be asking. I go so in depth with my underwriters, they can tell you. I might bring them on here and do a interview maybe in the future. But the thing is, I ask them questions over and over. They'll tell you that. I want to know, has this changed? Has it not changed? Once this goes through this part of underwriting, which I see, this is how it works. Please, I know there's a person calling me. I've seen this number time and time again. I will try. It's an out of the blue. I don't know if it's an out of the blue number. I think it is. Send me a quick text. What's your alternative? Send me a quick text. See, that wasn't specific. So there's another individual who's made a little bit life a little hard. So it's the thing is, make things easy. I make it easy on you 110%. It's so hands off. But when I get feedback, it's like, this was your time to be a little bit more specific. You just gave me a very bland answer. So what? I have to go do some more digging. I have to go ask you again. See the positioning that I'm being put in. I don't want to be that guy. You guys don't want me to do that. Very nicely, I always do. But we're communicating 20 different times, and it isn't going anywhere. Sidetrack. Bye. And a lot of these, I don't even look at the text messages. I have to. I gotta move. And it's just the honest truth. You can ask anybody. So that is the checklist. Let me come back in here. Additional questions you can ask yourself. 7 important alternative business capital requirements. And then towards the bottom here, the next steps on what I would do, and then certain situations. So now let me move this over to this share screen. And this is what you'll see in the EIDL loan versus the SBA. So go watch that video if you haven't. And then there are the other ones where I spoke about this and what this all means in the qualifications. There's a little bit more. And then the different SBA 7A loan options and what you should skip and what maybe you shouldn't. So that'll be down below. We're getting towards the end here. And then here is this form again. If you're wondering that questionnaire, what it would look like, this is the one. You can look at it down below in the description. It'll look like this more or less. There's a few different ones as well. But you literally can fill this out in less than 30 seconds if you have everything. It's not going to take you much time. I'm not a creditor, so please put your credit score. I won't use it against you. Complete the questionnaire form below to get a personalized and customized email response for your best funding option and options. Plus, you'll get a free 6-step pre-approval lending checklist to get you approved for funding much faster. It's what you just saw, and it's always being updated. So your name all the way down here to any additional notes. So this is your moment to be a rock star. In the additional note section, if you put something like expansion, or what did you put there? Is there more to this? What exact expansion projects do you have? Tell me. I'm opening another location and hiring more staff, about 50 more, boom. And I'm using it for building maintenance. So a lot of this may be telling me, hey, you may need something of a little bit of a longer term to operate this. But without that, I'll ask it in the email. Just a lot of people become unresponsive and then responsible. It's another thing. So that'll be there down below in the description for you guys to check out. Now, let me see what other tabs I have open in case I missed anything. Let me make sure I didn't. So EIDL loan increase, PPP forgiveness, make sure you guys take care of that. There is the $26,000 per employee retention credit program that you can get for having employees in your business that I'll link you guys to down below in the description. Make sure you guys check that one out. And then I'm going to close this because I don't know if you guys have heard of this from me, but I'm an introvert. So don't think that because I go quiet. I'd rather you guys hear from somebody who goes quiet and processes his thoughts fully, as opposed to somebody just speaking out of their ASS. I'm going to be honest with you. A lot of people in this industry who are salesmen, people, they just, I can see it. I can see it, and I can see it right through it. And some of these, not all of them, portray a different picture. And it's just, and I'm not that person. I will never pressure you guys. I'm taking care of you guys like 110%. I care about each and every one of you. I had Renee. I don't know if you're in here watching. I'll say your name. You called me yesterday. I couldn't get to it initially. I had my uncle helping out in my yard. He wanted to come over and help out when I was doing things here. And I gave him a call back no later than 2 minutes after he called me. Hi, Renee. How are you doing? Hey, Michael. And then we got to talk a little bit. And that lit up my world. It gave me goosebumps because I care. We didn't even talk about business right away. We spoke about a few things, and then we got into the things of the topic we needed to get at. And I showed him, hey, this is what we spoke about previously. And so if there was an alternative way, I would have brought it up. But the lenders do want this. The lenders want to make sure this is how it looks. Okay, so what do you suggest I do? Should I wait in about 3 months? Yes, I suggest you do, because in April, that's maybe where you had some difficulty. So if it were June, if it were June, July. Yeah, June, because that's the bank statement since we're in July. Because something happened in June, you may want to wait 3 months from now. If it were happening in April, we probably knock off April and then look May and June, July. Going into August, that'd be a little bit different if that were only 3 months of bank statements. But they would also look at it and say, well, you had 1 month here that was negative in the account, or you had non-sufficient funds, you had overcharges, and this is stuff that I can see before it even gets through the lender. So even just asking you, and without even looking at the bank statements, just be honest. If I ask for the bank statements and I look at them and I say, hey, you weren't being honest when I asked you this question. Just because you want to see what you can get approved for doesn't mean you're going to get approved. You're just wasting my energy, my time, as well as anybody else's, the underwriters. They come back to me, Michael, you sent me a file, but I asked them the question. They just weren't honest with me. And we know that. We know the nature of this business. I just told that to my underwriter on a phone call the other day. My officers, I told them, this is the nature of the business. Unfortunately, they don't always give me the information. And I get it from their point of view, why they wouldn't want to share something like that. But be honest, so we're not wasting energy and time. So qualifications, I had a document. Yeah, but I moved away from it. So I went over the qualifications, and I've done this in other videos where there are things that happen in the underwriting process that can significantly stop you from receiving funding, like your infrequent deposits, the number of deposits, negative days in any of the last 3 or so months, non-sufficient funds, you can't have more than 5. You've already defaulted, yeah, and with the default past judgment in place, you have too many loans. We can't even come in the third, fourth position. We can't reconsolidate that loan because you just received new funding. You haven't been paying off even 50% of one. You're just looking at covering yourself, and you weren't strategic enough. Maybe something arose in business expenses. But that's the thing. You have to be prepared. You can't count on getting one advance or one business loan and then getting another one on top. Don't stack when you immediately get them. Pay off one. And then in time later on, see if you can get another one. But stick to one and be reputable with one. Don't just jump from one to the next. And I get it, as business owners, things come up. But be calculated in what you're using these funds for. I'll speak to multi-billionaires because I get clients like that. And I know how they see the world. They see it the same way I do. They see it and they go, yes, I'm using my funds to purchase an existing building, putting it underneath my LLC. And we have to do a fix. We're going to add more inventory. We have some new product. We just tested some new material. A new production line is coming up. And then I'm also buying 3 cargo vans on top of that. And then I have to buy 1 reefer that's going to produce to me this and this. And then in about 6 months, I'll be fine. We can't always project that. But the differences that I see is they're not scrambling as opposed to other tiers. Other tiers are just like, oh man, I need $500 now, or my business truck is not going to work, and da-da-da-da-da. When you knew the sign was coming to you about 2 weeks ago, and sometimes things happen like that where it's an immediate response. Oh, now I have to get funding for this, and that's okay. So questions and answers. So this is a great one, and I'm going to say her name. How to properly present your fundability docs or your funding documentation. This one here was from Laura Garcia. So if you're in here watching, appreciate you. Anybody, you guys can chime in. And if you allow StreamYard access, I may be able to show you guys here on the, like right here. We have quite a few people. See there? So I'm going to move this, I believe. Let me see. This thing keeps getting in my way. I have this HP lighting thing. I have to exit out of that. I keep forgetting how to move these comments out of the way with StreamYard for some reason. All right, we're just leaving it on there for now. And I know I've moved it before. And we'll come back to that. So some quick questions and answers. So how do you properly present your fundability or funding details? Like that can mean a few things. It can mean your revenue, your time in business, your industry. How is that presented? And then secondly, how do you present your documentation? And that's where I'm going to go into. So the way you present your documentation is like any other situation. You want to make sure first and foremost you're organized about it. You're not scrambling when you finally need them. Like I said in the beginning, you want to have this stuff already pretty much easily accessible at the most. You don't want to say, I started an application. Like I have people that are very, very lazy, and it shows. And I'm not saying that to them, or I'm not like saying that's necessarily always a bad thing. Yes, I get lazy at times. If it takes a little bit more work to do something, by human nature, we won't do it. But you got in business to challenge yourself, didn't you? You knew this was going to be uncomfortable for you. And if you haven't been in an uncomfortable position until now, it's a wake-up call. And so how you present your documentation, each and every person has different documents that they'll need. But just put them in a core folder. You can put them in your Google Drive. You can easily access them, download them, upload them online if necessary, if that's how it's asked for. Or you can send them to me. My email is michael@viralfundingsolutions.com. Hey, Michael, I just sent you my PDF documents. Great. I'm going to revise them and I'll give you a response back, or I'll just respond back to you and I'll tell you I'm looking at them. I still need this, and I'll let you know what documents I need. I'll highlight them in red, and it's very, very clear. Hi, John, I sent you this, and all I need is about 3 months of bank statements. Check to see below which documents are still needed. I'm still trying to get them for you. Okay, great, fine. No worries. Thanks for your feedback. You didn't go cold. I love that. And John, if you're watching in here, I appreciate you. Amongst many of you, I just named one person, but John, thank you for getting back. And so I don't just say that to say it. It's the truth. Some people just go cold. Like right now, I have to go and speak to a few people, and they're being very brief. And it's unfortunate, but that's just the world. So how do you properly present them, organize them, understand what documents are needed, organize them together if possible. And if not, when you start an application or however you're sending them, come back and put them together. So depends on the service too, what documentations will be needed. But in a gist of it, just properly have them together and don't complain. There are too many complainers and negative people in this world. Nobody wants to be around them. And so don't be that person. Even if you don't say it out loud, don't even bring up the thought. Just say, I accept this. I'll get it done. Right? What you consciously think of is what you will bring out in front of you into your internal and to your external life. If you're not consciously aware of your thoughts and what you're thinking and thinking to yourself that doesn't lead anywhere bad, it's absolutely wrong about that. So it can be difficult, but just be accepting of it. If this is the way it needs to be done, this is the way. Well, no, they didn't ask me to link this, and well, they were probably a bad lender. They're probably somebody you shouldn't have been working with to begin with. But because you went that direction, or because we maybe spoke and you avoided what I was trying to say, now you're in a bad situation. So Laura, appreciate you. Thank you for asking that. And there have been quite a few people who have asked that question too. Let me see over here. I'm hoping I'm saying your name right, Senuari. I know I've spoken to you, and sometimes I get that name wrong. Sorry if I did. Denials for FICO. This is more of a problem more than a question. So there are many reasons you've been denied for your FICO, and it depends on the service. So like 680 and above or 660 for an SBA loan, because they're very high on credit, may be different than a merchant cash advance, where we expect you to have a minimum of a 500 FICO credit score. And we don't look too deep into it all. But with the credit score being up higher over here, we're going to look even deeper in your consumer credit bureaus. We're going to look in your business credit. Oh, you're down in profit. Too many inquiries. Too much debt. Credit utilization too high. So it just depends on the service, but you will get declined for FICO. Even if a program just says, hey, we're basing it off of revenue, but FICO also determines your term. It can determine your rate. So I have quite a few people right now who literally could have been receiving funds of about $1 million. Like I spoke about this yesterday on TikTok. I went on. Literally millions upon millions they lost out. Because one thing happened in underwriting. One thing happened in their background. Check. Because we do. We want honesty in an individual. Because something happened where we're not sure if they're going to be reliable no matter how much they've changed or what has happened now. Because in an instant, it can go away. Or one thing happened in your credit report that couldn't get you a line of credit. Dang, you were just 5 points over. Sorry. And you didn't make these payments on time. That's worse. Line of credit shut down, but you can probably get a lump sum. Usually a lump sum, we can get you more than a line of credit. So there are many reasons for a denial in FICO. And there are parts of the process from the very beginning, middle, and end that changes in the underwriting. So you may be accepting of an offer, but we still have to do a final check. We might have to do a bank verification. Did anything change? Your sales? What are you depositing now currently? Did you accept funding anywhere else? If you did, sorry, no more funding. Did you do something different? Do you have too many withdrawals one day? Why is that the case? Your average daily bank balance just went low from about a week ago. It was very strong. What's happened? And for the lenders to be able to get their money, they need to be able to deposit ACH as well as be able to receive it. And a lot of people don't like that. Well, I just released content on this, and I'm going to be releasing it on a program called Decision Logic on what they're looking for when they do bank verification. So let me go quickly over here to the comments. I know I went over in time. I know I said I'd be done earlier. Appreciate you guys, though, for being here. Every Thursday, this is new to you. I try to come on here and deliver you guys as much value. It's not just grants, opportunities. This is the latest grant opportunity of the day. And that's fine, but it's like you want to hear everything. You want to hear why you didn't qualify. You wanted to hear what the heck I've been doing wrong. How do I fix this freaking thing that these other people out here are just getting clout for? But I finally have somebody to turn to who I can trust personally, who I can trust on a business level. You're my rock star. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to work for you. I'm going to find it. It's not about the money for me. It's about getting you the best you can get that will make the biggest difference to your own consumers. B2B, B2C, be that. But at the end of the day, you're growing your revenue. You're growing your bottom line. You're profiting. You actually make a difference in your community, in your city, in your state. You offered more jobs to people. You could hire on an extra 5 more people. Hi, Nancy. How are you doing? Can I get funding for even my business license? If it's a new tax ID, how do FICO scores matter? So 2 good questions. So the first one, yeah, I mean, you have to have a fully operating business. It can be partially, I mean, there's issues with it being partially and fully shut down, but a business license is one thing. Is it operational is another thing, and has it been operating for 3+ months usually? So a lot of individuals still come to me and they go, hey, I have this business license, or I have an LLC established. Apologize for the light. I don't know. My last computer didn't do this. It was just something I got to go through with the HP lighting. But it has to be in operation. 3+ months in business usually, or 3+ months in bank statements usually, 4+ or 6+ months in business mostly. So if we look at 3 months of bank statements, we want to know that. So is it operational, revenue? We have to see all of that. If it's a new tax ID, that may not have anything to do with specific services, and it may have that to do with more of like an SBA loan. So non-operational, that's right there. So one thing is having the fundamentals. One thing is saying I have my business license, I have an LLC established, I have my business address, I have my business phone number. I've done all that myself. But I just cannot go and apply for funding if I have that. My business is non-operational. How is any private lender going to be able to give you money? They see that as a huge risk. Now, angel investors, 401k, all that's a different topic. That's probably what you want to do, Nancy, is look into your 401k. If you have high enough of a credit score, credit line hybrids, building your business credit, angel investors, crowdfunding, community advantage program. But even with that, with the SBA, it's a little bit more difficult. Startup loans, there's some of those. Grant opportunities. So let's see. This is literally what somebody asked me here. Where do I start? It seems really confusing or complex, finding information. So not to be, not for that, but one place you can start is right here with myself. You can even go to viralfundingsolutions.com. Here, I'll write it down here in the comments. I do all services, guys. It's not just one thing. Like, I know my stuff like to a T. I can see a file before I've even sent something over, and from an overview, I know what's going to work and what's not. So you can start with myself. I'm not trying to be biased. But I do believe in myself so wholeheartedly that I really have what I can give you much, much more than what anybody else can. And I'm not saying that to be cocky, but I know how confident and certain I am. Be careful of who you turn to for help on this. It's not as easy as just applying because you'll be disappointed on the outcome. That's for sure. And again, I could have gone hours saying you can go Google search. But like I said, go on your own. Even if you get referred for somebody else, be careful of who they are. I am appreciative, even if you haven't yet. A lot of people will refer me, not just online from social, blog, YouTube, and so forth, but people within the community as well as CPAs, accountants, right? Bank managers, because I know my stuff. I know how this works. And so I have another question here. It's not a question. This is a struggle. Struggling to find funds to buy inventory in manufacturing. This one is here by Lauren. Yeah, like many of us, we're struggling to get the right inventory, one, and then get enough inventory. Enough of the right inventory. And so sometimes you look at the next alternative to that. And especially the way you're receiving it, if it's being imported domestically, you see the supply chain issues right now happening. Not a lot of people being able to get their products, the trucking industry, and then them being able to get it, and then them being able to supply it to different states, cities, communities, etc. So there are a lot of issues right now with supply chain. So yeah, struggling to buy inventory, that's a very common issue that I see, and I help a lot of people. I have actually a lot of people right now that are getting that. And then there's specific inventory financing. And then manufacturing is a huge one. I know how manufacturing and inventory work. I've worked in those fields. So I know exactly the problems that these business owners are dealing with every day. I can walk into one and just say, hey, how are you? And how's business going? And I get into the nitty gritty and see what they actually need, what their problems are. And before I even have applied them some kind of business funding, because as a digital strategist and somebody who's helped out businesses grow their revenue, outside of just them getting revenue to grow it or getting funding to grow it, there are other ways. So Johnny here, I don't know if you're in here watching, how fast can I get approved? Very good question. Depends on the service. So unsecured term loans, cash advances, lines of credits, those unsecured financing methods usually can take you 24 hours with a cash advance. It could be same day too, same day instant approval. Profile is clean, but unless it doesn't, and two, it took forever. Of course, it's not going to be the same day. And there's some more stuff we have to look at, but it can be same day instant approval, usually up to 25K or up to 35K in some cases. And then the higher funding, you're looking at about 1 to 2 days, as much as 1 to 5 days. And the reason it can take a little bit longer is maybe you have a higher amount of revenue and you're asking for more. So we have to take more care of that. So it may not be in just 2 days. You might hear us back in 3 to 4 days. And we have to do a little bit of more extensive looking because that's a lot of money that's being moved into the account. So we have to take precaution, and it might take a little bit of a time for myself and or an underwriter and the lender to get on a call with you. And I'll follow up with you in this process. It may not always be a phone call. It could just be very quick. And then SBA loans, you know this, months. So it also depends on other services as well. Carmela here, consolidate loans is the problem that they were having. So first and foremost, what I want to say is if you're trying to consolidate loans, there's a much bigger issue. A lot of people want to put it into one, but I have to really ask you the question of why do you want to consolidate your loan? And that's where I dig up more problems. And so if I see bigger problems, even the smaller ones, and I go, this won't work. For why you're doing it, because you're consistently rinsing and repeating. You're losing something, you're gaining something. You're losing and gaining. To a lender, that's not what looks good. So we can consolidate, of course. We can also look at putting everything underneath one primary lender, one primary provider. But this is stuff that I can communicate with you more specific. Where do I get a 3-month term to start up a business? What I appreciate is at least they're looking at it and saying, where do I get 3 months? They know how much they need from what they need it for. Now, again, like I said, private lenders are not willing if you don't have revenue in the business, time, FICO is not where it needs to be. So getting 3 months is not the question that I would be asking, is where do I get a startup business loan? I would take the 3 months out from that, because you may get a little bit more, you may get less. Usually it depends on the service. It can be 1 to 5 years with personal/startup loans. And then angel investing, and then it can be a few other sources when they're going to get their return on their investment. So I'm not going to say any more on that. I've spoken quite a bit on the startup funding options. I've said it a lot, so I'm going to keep it to that. So this individual here says they have a perfect payment history for the last 10 years, and they've been paying on time. Ivy, that's great. A lot of people have it confused. I have business owners right now who I haven't even responded back to. I have to get back to. People think because you run a 20-year business, 10 years, 5 years, you're above the threshold that you deserve. You're entitled to receive funding of this amount. But I've been proven to have 20 years in business. Yeah, but you're not generating the revenue you sufficiently need to have that. How the heck are we going to get our money back? You want $1 million, but you're only doing $10,000 a month? Do you have collateral that's close to $1 million? Because at 10,000, you might get at the most 15 to 20 or so thousand, depending on your bank statements and so forth. So where's the other? You're looking for $1 million. Where's the other 1.8 something plus? See, it just doesn't correlate. So we have to be realistic about this. So there are more questions, but I'm going to leave it at that. And I may continue to release this over time. I may send you guys content on what questions to ask. You are very welcome, Jason. Appreciate you for tuning in. And I'm going to leave this open for now about another minute if anybody has any questions. In the meantime, your clients. Some things need to be asked over and over, and I don't really necessarily want to. I mean, just make it as simple as you can. I have people I need to get back to here soon. So again, Fridays and Saturdays are my catch-up days. That's when I'll start doing all the questionnaires. And so when I get a moment, if you submitted one, I'll get back to you. Don't worry. And then if I don't notify you on Friday, I'll notify you come Monday that you received it. Now, you may be giving me your business number. I had to call a business owner the other day, and it was their business number. I would prefer in that questionnaire form, you guys put your mobile. I won't harass or heckle you. I will just send you a follow-up text. And I've said this before, whether you see it or not, I get you get busy. But who are we kidding? It's an excuse. Been there, done that. It's not fooling me. You're only really much fooling yourself. And so the thing is, don't take the time to submit a questionnaire if you just are dibble-dabbling. Everybody wants to see what they'll qualify for. That's fine. But if it comes time to, hey, let's take some action on this, you're ready for this? I won't pressure you. Whenever you're ready, hands up. And wave them like you just, no, okay. Whenever you are ready, you will most definitely have 110% of my commitment. Now, if you're just complaining and complaining after you've been told what will happen, who is that on? Right? It's very simple. So that's what I want to leave you guys with. Just a few things happening for me. I'm going to be taking a break here. Maybe I'm going to go grab a lunch, and then I think I'm going to call it a day. Go do some leg work, more repetition, lower weight. Probably go on a walk. Think and process more of this through. Listen to some of my podcasts, that's for sure. I always do that every day. And then help the individuals who are very serious about this. So let's see, about another minute then. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to voice them. Now would be the time. I may jump over to TikTok. That's what I'll say after this for a little bit, if you guys want to meet me there. Helped out a lot of people this week. It's been a long one. More specifically with people who weren't aware that if they kept applying to places, that would actually hurt their chances. And I explained to them specifically why that is. Helped them a lot. But again, just be resourceful. You're a business owner, entrepreneur. Don't just go out there and apply because you see different companies. Don't do that. Just be careful. And if there's somebody trying to help you, get to know them. But ask hard questions. Ask me the hard questions. I'm sure I'll have an answer for it. Like that. And it's a good one. So I'm looking at my calendar. I'm looking at certain individuals. I'm going to be reaching back out to you. If I spoke to you already, then I'm going to be sending you material. Hopefully I can get it done by today, not by tomorrow. But I'm canceling everything right here that I had to take care of. Some people that are no-shows for appointments, when I'm there, I'm there. I may give you a time block from like 10 to 10:30 or so, but if you didn't get there, I can't consistently be flipping. Sometimes I can't make them, and I apologize if I don't let you know. Sometimes something comes up and I don't have the time to do that, but I will get back to you. All right. So that'll conclude everything from this video. If you need to watch it again, please do so. If you got value out of it, please give it a thumbs up. Share it with others who you feel will get value out of it. It can be a complete stranger, your friend, or a family member. But like I've said, you know you're taking care of them. You can rest your head on your pillow just before you go to bed and have that quick initial thought. I was able to help Jeremy. I was able to help Sally. I didn't know who this person was, but somebody will find it. And I know I was able to help them not go through the wrong person, get scammed, find fluffy material out there, and so forth. And if you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and do so and click that bell notification icon so you do not miss any future videos I will be coming out with. That is all for now. Take care.